Welcome to Whiskey's Journey. My name is Peter Fastiano. Today's Monday. I have got an Islay peated single malt scotch coming at you. It's Laphroaig Lore coming in at 48% ABV. It doesn't have an age statement. It's non-chill filtered. It's natural color. The cask maturation in this is ex-bourbon and ex-Oloroso sherry cask or hogshead. Let's go ahead and pour it, nose it, taste it, talk about it. And then if you stick around until the very end, I'm going to give this thing a score. I'm also going to add water to it and see if it changes in any way. Holy cow, this is peated. I just got a little bit on my pinky, and just by pouring it, I mean, it's filling the room with that Laphroaig peat. That's absolutely crazy. 750 milliliter bottle, and I purchased this online. I can't remember which company I purchased it through, but it was $159.99. I did look on a Total Wine website, and I think it's going for that same amount. We don't see it here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, if you did not know. Tell you what, this smells absolutely amazing. If you've been here for a while, you know that I like sherry cask finished or sherry cask matured, and I'm also a big fan of peated single malts. So when you combine those two, this is going to be right up my alley. And then throw in the ex-bourbon, and this is just building up to being a very good review. All right, so even before I get it to my nose, I did mention that this is a peated single malt, and what I'm getting is a different peat than what I normally tend to gravitate towards. I like the savory side of things towards the smoked meat, and what's coming out of the glass now is very briny, medicinal, tar, Band-Aid. And then on the nose, there is that back end of sweetness that I always get. Peaches, like grilled peaches and grilled pineapple. I think there's a lot of malt and definitely some vanilla. So going into this, just little bits and pieces of information kind of give you an idea or set your nose up to what you might be smelling. And then it also sets your palate up to what you might be tasting. And whenever I see ex-bourbon and ex-sherry, whether it's PX or Oloroso, the first thing that I think that I'm going to get would be vanilla and dark fruits, figs, dates, raisins, and plums. Now that might be something that might skew my senses, just thinking that's what I'm going to get. So when I do smell this, it's a medicinal, salty, kind of briny peat. And then on the back end, all of that sweetness comes through. You have to battle through that briny, peaty, Band-Aid kind of iodine note. And then right behind it is all of that sweetness, the vanilla and the grilled fruit notes. And then take it a little bit further. You know, I can kind of convince myself that there are dark red fruit notes as well. All right, it smells absolutely fantastic. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate and see what it's like on the palate. See if all of those things that I'm getting on the nose also come through on the palate. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, definitely medicinal up front with a huge amount of brine and saltiness. Vanilla, a little bit of bitterness or char is coming through. It's sinking underneath the tongue, and it's just enveloping everything inside my mouth. It is good, but it's a little bit drying and a little bit bitter. If you really do like salty, briny, Band-Aid type of peat, you're going to like this. And I think that might be the profile of Laphroaig. So on that first sip, as I'm sitting here, that finish is rather long. It is drying. And the more that I'm sitting here, the more salty, briny notes are coming through. But that was the first sip. Let me go ahead and get a second sip in, add some water to it, talk a little bit about Laphroaig and Laphroaig Lore. And just like always, if you know any additional information, please post them in the comments down below. Also, I do have an April giveaway happening, so if you're interested in supporting the channel, read through the rules that are found in the description below. And if you end up liking this information and you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and turn that bell notification on, because I produce videos and release them to YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, let's go ahead and get that second sip in. Yeah, a lot more vanilla and a little bit of maltiness is coming through on the nose on that last inhale. All right, on the palate. Vanilla, brine, salt, grilled peach, grilled pineapple, a little bit of effervescence happening on the side of the tongue. On that second sip, that peatiness has dropped off a little bit, but this is still pretty Band-Aid, campfire smoke forward. Finish is drying, a little bit bitter, just like it was before. all around, it's a pretty good experience. Even though that I'm saying that it is sticking to everything, I don't think, or I should say that the finish or the flavors are lingering. I don't think this has quite the syrupy, viscous feel on the mouth that other peated whiskeys do. It does seem to be a little bit thin, but not to a detriment where the concentration of flavors are lacking, because the concentration of flavors are intense. It just does not have the viscosity that I would normally think a peated Scotch would have with this much intense flavor. Let's get a couple of drops of water in here, let it sit for a little bit, and talk about Laphroaig and Laphroaig Lore. So Laphroaig was established in 1815, right here on the label. And this particular release, not this bottle, but Laphroaig Lore was, I believe, originally released in 2016. And based on the quick research that I did, let me know in the comments down below if this is correct or not. But it's saying that this has anywhere from 7 to 21 year age old single malt. Now, I don't know if that is true or not. I don't think I'm getting a lot of age in there. So maybe the percentage of 21-year-old or the older single malt that's in here is at a low percentage. And I'm always curious on where these names get their name from. Lore, based on their website, refers to the passing of skills or tradition through word of mouth from generation to generation. And with Laphroaig being steeped in tradition, I do believe the distillery manager at the time that was responsible for producing this, John Campbell, worked at Laphroaig for quite a long time. I do believe he retired and passed on the torch as distillery manager to Barry McCaffer in 2022. And based on my knowledge, he is still the distillery manager. Now, I know Laphroaig, just like Ardbeg, has their dedicated fans. And I would like to hear from everybody that's watching this video. Are you an Ardbeg fan or a Laphroaig fan? To me, again, I like them both, but I lean a little bit more towards the Ardbeg side of things. I know we can throw in Lagavulin as well. So let me know in the comments down below, like give me a list of what would be your preference if you were gonna go to a peated Scotch, what would be your brand? And just list them 1 to 5. I think everybody likes lists, and I get a kick out of it reading what you guys are drinking. All right, was not a whole lot of time, but let's go ahead and see what the water has done to this. I'll nose it one more time, taste it, and then give this thing a score. All right, there's a lot more vanilla, and the peat is almost non-existent. I don't know if I added too much water or not, and I didn't really have a whole lot left in the glass when I did. But it has killed all of the nuances and all of those robust concentrated notes that were on the nose to begin with. Now it just smells like vanilla malt. I'm not getting any of the light grilled peaches or pineapple. I'm not getting any medicinal notes. It's now, we're straight down the middle, just campfire smoke. And maybe that brine and saltiness is hanging on just by a thread. So let's go ahead and get the last of it on the palate. Yeah, just like always, typically when I add water to a whiskey, it brings out more of the spice that's there, maybe more of the oak spice. This is still vanilla forward, malt. It killed all the peaty notes. Now I'm just left with the remnant of a light fruit in the background. I think the 48% ABV does this pretty well, and I think proofing it down doesn't really do it any favors, especially if you are really into that distillate that Laphroaig has. And I don't really know if the ex-bourbon or the ex-sherry are dominant over one another. I think this is a very cohesive, well-balanced whiskey. I definitely do like this without water. The concentration of flavors with the grilled fruits, the campfire smoke, the medicinal, briny, salty side of things are really good. So based on what I described, I would put this at a solid 4 out of 5 stars. And I would think that the only reason why I would not put this at a 4.5 or a 4.4 is because of the type of peat that's in here. I would much prefer more of a burnt log, savory meat peatiness. I'm not saying that it's not good. It's absolutely fantastic, but it's just far as my flavor profile goes, I tend towards the Ardbeg type of smoke. So 4 out of 5 is still a pretty good score for me. And I am definitely going to enjoy the remainder that I poured for myself. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Let me know what you think of Laphroaig down in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a list of your top 5 preferred smoky peated Islay scotches. Until the next time, wherever you're at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it, and we'll talk to you everybody later. Bye.